Hey, everybody. So today we have a very esteemed guest, which we're so excited to introduce you to. We hope that you recognize her, Natalie.
Yay! I get to tell my story.
Oh,
I'm so sorry,
wow.
everyone, in advance.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Excitement.
It's
I know,
it
right?
is kind of exciting because we never we talk all the time, but we never really we've never really done this with each other on the podcast,
We're
just like
recording our sister call.
I know this is
Yes.
kind of, except we don't have the emojis on our face.
No.
We could have done it on FaceTime the way we normally do it. We'll have to
That's
tell
true.
everybody about that sometime, how we put we put emojis on our face. We'll kind of
When we
not
have
do
our
that
sister
this
calls.
time. So we'll get serious because I think everybody probably has a curiosity about how we got here. They're like, okay, guys, what is Confessions of a Reluctant Caregiver? Like, what happened? So we, I know the story. I know how much it touched our family, but it's kind of nobody else does. They might have read our website and stuff, but it's your story, and I know we want to hear about it. So tell us about where it started.
Well,
The love of your life.
yes.
Done.
Here's my confession. Well, I was born, and we'll skip to the part where it's interesting. I'm the second, I'm the middle child. As you guys know, I'm the middle. I'm the blonde in between my two beautiful redheaded sisters. And I have always been super outgoing and have always been part of helping others. We were raised that way. So fast forward, graduated college, started working. From a young age, I always knew that I wanted to help others. And in doing so, it just snowballed and kept going. And I really ended up leaning into my career. You guys know, I don't have children, so I never have seen myself as a caregiver. I'm not a parent, but over my 25-year history as a professional career, I have parented and cared for thousands of children and supported their families. That's been mine. And it's really the reason I decided never to have children, is because I could not work like I do and be able to support children and families in Virginia. So I've been in Virginia most of my adult life. So I met Jason. Jason is my husband. He's husband number 2, because I believe you should always have a starter husband. Thanks,
Not
Keith.
funny. Not funny.
He was really nice. It just, wasn't my lobster. And so, we met playing volleyball. And
that was before you had weak ankles.
Girl, I had weak ankles the whole time. And so, but we played rec volleyball, and Jason's older than me. He's 9 years older than me. So I was 27, he was 36. It's a good thing he looked young, because had I known he was 36, I don't think I would have dated him. But I was like, dude, you're old. And so now I'm like 47, and I'm like, it's not old. It's totally fine. But anyway, we've been together now 18 years. We were together 11 years before we got married. We always like to joke that we were just lazy daters because we didn't have kids.
This is not a show about commitment, Natalie. It's okay. It's not Dr. Ruth or anything.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So life had been going really well for us. Yeah. We had 2 dogs. we had our friends. We traveled. We had a really good life. Yeah. A couple of years ago, Jason got injured, and where he had been working professionally, his body was tired of it. And so Jason had got injured. And so he's not really able to work a lot. And so, but that was okay. So we adjusted our life. And then we were just moving along like every normal person. You just move along. And on February 14th, he he had been having problems, and I'm just like, go to the doctor, go to the doctor. So Jason had problems for about a year, and he finally went to a specialist. And I decided I was going to go to a meeting instead. And you guys know me.
But I'm going to interject there. What doctor had he been going to prior?
His primary care physician and his dentist.
Yeah, his dentist, because they thought it was his mouth, right?
Right, because he had had swollen lymph nodes for over almost a year.
Yeah.
And swollen lymph nodes for almost a year. And so he finally went to the doctor, and I told him, I didn't think it was anything. And I've never gone to the doctor with him before. I'm like, you're not a child. I don't need to go to the doctor with you. And so I thought, that's a very important meeting.
Super wife. Okay.
Yeah, I'm nailing it as a wife, right? And so I think we all should acknowledge there are moments that I am selfish. And so I put a whole bunch of things above Jason. So that's important to know. And this is a confession. I have always put work above everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's true. And because of the positions I was in executive positions, and I felt that I had to. And so Jason, this is hard to say. Jason sometimes came after the dogs. He would tell you that sometimes he felt like it was the dogs, because I would come in from being out of town and I would kiss the dogs and then kiss him. And he was just like, why are you kissing me? After, I know, Jay, look at your face. Your face is like, did you really kiss dog lips? I mean, for those on video, the beagle is right behind me and sleeping in the chair. And so she's like, she does kiss me first. And, but anyway, I didn't go to Jason's doctor's appointment with him, a problem that he had been having for over a year. I just didn't think it was going to be anything. And he came home and he told me that they thought he had cancer. And that stopped me in my tracks. And I couldn't believe it. So here's another confession. I don't ever regret anything. I believe that my actions are my actions, and what is meant to happen happens. And there's a lot of things I probably should regret that comes out of my mouth, but I don't regret it. But if I die with one regret, it will be that I was not there for him to hear that information. Yeah. That is the one thing I absolutely regret, that he had to experience that alone. And that hurts my heart, because I love him to pieces. And so he takes care of me. He's been my caregiver for 18 years.
He is the most Emily, we vote that he is the most patient human being on this earth.
He is Saint Jason to me.
Okay, we're done. See his accolades.
He really is awesome. He cooks for me and everything. I can't cook. I mean, I cook eggs and avocado. Yeah. So anyway, fast forward, we get the diagnosis confirmed. Yeah. We are not happy with the services we're receiving, the options and what they told us. Our amazing Aunt Jane said, Natalie, you need to check out this type of radiation procedure. And that snowballed and took us down the path of getting to Memorial Sloan Kettering, where we ultimately received his treatment. Yeah. It is in New York City. New York City. It was a God thing. And so this is important, because God had been on the back burner in my life. He had always been there, because God's always there. Mm-hmm. He was just on the back burner, just kind of watching. And I would just tap into him when I needed him. I didn't need him when things were good. I would just tap in when I was in trouble. And so one of my really good friends, and I said this on a podcast where I guessed the other day, a friend of mine said, God gets your attention when he misses you. And that has stuck with me for so long. And I was like, well, he didn't have to give Jason cancer to get my attention. And that's the reality. I'm like, gosh, God, that was harsh. And, but the reality is it was the best thing that could have happened to Jason and I, because I really am a half full person. I look for the silver lining and the blessings now in everything, but I've always looked for the silver linings. And Jason's cancer has brought us closer to one another. And so that was a silver lining or glimmer, a happy piece of this terrible disease. And so Jason was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma, P16 positive, which is a type of head and neck cancer. So we decide that we are going to move to New York City because they told us this amazing information. His prognosis was great. And there's a clinical trial that would half the radiation and chemo. And that was fantastic. And we were like, yes. And, but we had to move to New York City. And
it's just a little interjection here. At the same time, you're still working full time. I know this story.
Yeah.
So you're still working full time. Had you gotten a promotion?
Oh yeah. Was I supposed to not work? I didn't realize Jason gets cancer and I'm supposed to stop working. I was like, oh, and somebody said, you should probably take FMLA. And I'm like, why? Why would I stop working? At this point, it hasn't occurred to me that I was just going to fit it in, because I work and then I fit in. So how stupid is it that I would think I'll just fit Jason's cancer into my work schedule? That's stupid. And so, but I look at it now and I'm like, you're an idiot. And so this is my authentic confession. So you're right, Jay. So my boss had said to me, we had known that we were going to change positions and restructure at my workplace. And he said, it was planned for April 1st that I would transition to a CEO role in the company. Oh, and I said, do you think we should not do that? And he was like, no, I think you can do it.
Okay. Lots of faith in you.
Him and Jesus had a lot of faith in me. And so, so I was, and I said, you really think we could do it on April 2nd, maybe? Because April 1st is April Fool's Day. And I said, nobody would believe it because my husband has cancer and I'm going to get a promotion. Yay.
So you did that. You have been traveling back and forth to New York, I know, to try and get approved for the services to get into the trial. And then you moved to New York. When did you guys move?
We moved in May. And here was the linchpin. Who was going to take care of our children?
The dogs.
And Emily's waving now. And I said,
yes, it was me.
And Emily said, Emily was living in Indiana. And I was like, oh God, how are we going to, who says that?
But they're your children. They really are.
This is the logistics of being a caregiver. Yeah. I have to get Jason the best treatment. And oh gosh, because when we went to New York, it was very clear that dogs are bougie. And we knew our dogs would never potty on the sidewalk. Winston is an English bulldog. Daisy's the beagle. You'll see the beagle again in the background here, sleeping in the chair. And we were really concerned none of the other dogs would like them. It was just very dicey. And so Emily said, Natalie, I'm going to move to Virginia. And I will take care of the dogs and the house, and you won't have to worry about it. That's blessing number 2 after our insurance. First blessing was the insurance, that we were able to change our insurance so we could go to New York. So I'm going to tell you, during this entire time, because I'm talking about Jason and the journey that we've gone through, I am like a ball of nerves, but I'm used to high stress. And so, but there were moments because I felt like I had to be everything for him. And I couldn't express how I was feeling because you're not allowed. So I feel like you cannot say, I'm having a hard time to a person who has cancer. It feels bad. You're selfish. I already knew I was selfish. But I couldn't go and be like, dude, I'm struggling really bad. And I can tell you, there were times that I would sit in my office with the door closed after meetings and I would just cry for a little while. And makes me want to cry now. And then I would find time that I would talk to Emily or Jay and I would kind of quietly confess how I was feeling because I didn't feel okay sharing with Jason how I was really feeling. I'm like, I'm fine. We got this. I was a cheerleader. We're going to go. I don't remember when I stopped being a wife, but I think when maybe he got his diagnosis, I went into caregiver
It was like superhero mode, as I remember.
Woman.
Like you became like the most like determined, like insanity. Like we are going here. You were like a drill sergeant. We are moving to New York. We are finding this.
I'm very structured. I mean, I'm like, let's do this. And I'm not going to take no for an answer, because I wasn't like, you don't get, and Jason at times would be like, Natalie, you might need to back off. I don't want the doctors to get mad at you and then that affect my care. And I'm like, damn it, if that affects your care, I will call every regulator and joint commission. And I'm like, watch it. I know what I'm doing. Like, I was a woman on a mission. At this point, I was like, I don't know that I even saw Jason some days. I was like, I must help him. And I think
we were all like scared of her, like, oh my gosh, like
nobody talked to me.
A rage, like she could text, but we're all like 911. Natalie is out of control today.
Yes.
She's on a mission.
Well, and
so that is like the advocacy portion of it, like the caregiver portion is.
I'm an advocate, utilization review specialist. Me and the insurance companies. You're not telling.
I saw that and I was like, okay, you're on the rage. Like, I will save, I will fix this, I will give the best care. This. But at night, like we would get those texts and you were like, I remember these, like you're like melting. Like, and I think you're so tired. You put all your energy in and then it's like, I can't, like, it's like, I can't breathe. Like I gotta tune it out. Just, I need like 5 minutes to myself. Like, well, is it gone? Like, is cancer gone? Can I just not think about cancer for 5 minutes?
Well, and that's how I used work.
Yeah.
I used work to distract me. And how, I mean, why was I thinking about work? But I used work to help me to get through the in-betweens. Because if we weren't at appointments and if we weren't at any appointments, I worked in between. Yeah. And I work 12-hour days. It's very common to do 10 to 12-hour days for me. So I worked even more because I had to, in my mind, fill up or make up for any time I might have missed. I never missed any time. I always I kept it honest, but it was a joy to not have to talk about cancer. And so that's where work substituted that. But the reality is I never took time for myself. And I think that's really important to share with folks. My time for myself ultimately was talking to you two. That's how I healed. And we talk about that. You need to have someone, you need to have a team. And our friend Mike, who we had on with Soaring Families, talked about caregiving is not a solo act. And it wasn't a solo act, but it really, for me, it was. And so our team of people, like we had Dan who would come stay with the dogs when we would, and Rich, they're the twins, Jason's friends. We would have them come and stay with the dogs when we'd go to appointments in New York, or we'd have our next door neighbor, young lady, Isabella. She's awesome. She cares for the dogs. They love her. And her mom would help and come over. I mean, it was coordinating. So I was a coordinator and I was an advocate. But the moments that were the biggest blessings for me in the day was when Jason and I at 9 o'clock at night would stop and we would do the Bible app.
Yeah.
And we would do the Bible app together. And that was uncomfortable at first. And then we just got into it. God blessed us so much. And we would just pray together and we would cry at times together, but we sat on the couch and we would do our prayers and then we would talk a little bit about it. But that was such a blessing. And then I incorporated Christian music into my journey. And that was when we moved to New York City. And so when we moved to New York, it was almost, I don't know if I was, disassociating a little bit because I'm like, oh, look, we're living in New York and we're living this bougie, nice place. And because I needed a nice place, I needed a place that felt safe to me. And so we stayed at the AKA residences. We love you. I love Manuela and Ernie and all the staff there. They were amazing. And we decided to stay.
They became your people. Like they were more.
They were my family.
They were supported because they knew about Jason's illness. So it was more people that you took into your tribe.
Yeah. So I built my own support system, less for him, more for me. So my support system was like you and Emily and my friend Julie and Kelly and my friend Terry that I met on Facebook, and Laura, who we met on the airplane. Like, I'm telling you, I am like, I don't know that any of these people had a choice.
But you know, the funny thing, and I'm interjecting so much, but we want people to realize this, is that, and when we talk to other people on podcasts, there are things that you have to do as a caregiver, and Emilie knows this. You have to ask and don't feel bad about asking. Like, you reconnected with like Susan from college.
Oh my
and
gosh,
it wasn't, you were still friends, but it was like, Susan, she lives in New York.
It was the only person I knew in New York.
Can you just meet us? You guys went to the park.
We did.
Like I mean, there are little things, and that's just a saving grace.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, go to the park with us, just change our day, just change up our routine.
Susan Lang was my college roommate, and we didn't talk, we drifted apart, but it doesn't mean we weren't friends. Yeah. And so I knew Susan lived in New York City. She was New York City for me. And Susan is the kindest, most amazing person. And she checked in on me as well. And I just had this little team of people that I talked to, because here's the thing. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on all these places because professionally, I'm very visible, and Jason is not. And so, but this was so personal to me. And this is so common in caregivers. Now that I know more about caregivers, we just kind of go inside ourselves, and we don't want to burden other people. We don't feel comfortable talking about our pain, our insecurities, our doubts. And so I didn't want to put it on Facebook and make it Facebook official, because it's personal. Facebook is social. And so, you know, I have lots of quote unquote friends, but the reality is that I knew the onslaught of questions emotionally I could not handle. And so my friend Teresa said, Natalie, you have to get on the Caring Bridge. And I started using the Caring Bridge in April when we started our first journey up to New York. And it wasn't that I hid Jason's diagnosis, but I wasn't out there advertising it. And people were so respectful and so kind. And so as people found out about it, I said, if you'd like to read about our journey, this is how I update everybody, because when we first got the diagnosis, I was sending 30 text messages every day. And it was so bad for me. Like, it's the repetitiveness and then all the questions. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm going to just melt. And so I'm talking to everybody, trying to keep everybody updated, because then I'm going to be a crappy wife and a crappy updater. And was I doing well enough in my job? And, I got a promotion, but am I really doing a good job for my people? Like, I had so many people to please. And so that was the part that was hard. So we moved to New York City and we start this. And I can remember setting the first day, this is going to hurt me. I remember setting the first day at the New York Proton Center. It was 7 a.m. and Jason goes back to get his first treatment. And I'm listening to music. I had started listening to Christian music to really help me. And my friend Paul, who is no longer with us, he had cancer and he battled it for so long. I had kept up with him some, but Paul, we didn't really text. Paul was very sick. And he sent me a text and he said, I just want you to know I'm thinking of you. He texted me at 7:05 a.m. And I thought, God, man, God, you sent someone who is, and we knew Paul's was not doing well, and that we all hoped, but we knew the reality. And he, in his worst time of his life, reached out to me, and he never knew the blessing that he gave to me, and said, I'm thinking of you. I'm praying for you. And during Jason's treatment, and Jason walks out. And so I'm crying like a full hot ass mess in the middle of the Proton Center. And thank God it was 7 a.m. So nobody else is telling me, like looking at me, because I was like this little ball, this little, like in myself. And God sent Paul to tell me I was going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
people don't know. They don't know that little word, that little text sometimes.
it makes so much difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Jason comes out and he looks like a tuna caught in the net, because you guys don't understand. He has the way that, and it's funny because I always inject humor when I feel anxiety. And so he had this mask that he had to wear, and they bolt it down on the table to keep his head in position so that the radiation treatment will hit exactly to the T where it has to be. And he comes out and he goes, well, what's wrong with you? Like, and I'm like, he's just walks out smiling like we were like, okay, like nothing was wrong. And I'm like, dude, you just had your head radiated. Like, he's supporting me. He's supporting me. And I was just like, oh, I'm just upset. And he goes, look at my face. I look like a tuna. And he did. And so we took a picture of it and I posted it on the Carry Bridge so everybody knew what he looked like when he was a tuna. He is the strongest person I know.
Yeah.
Even in his worst times, he knew when I was not okay and he tried to support me. That says a lot. I mean, it's okay to have moments of weakness and allow other people to help you.
Yeah.
So, here I've got my Kleenex. Hold on. I just
Okay.
need it.
All right.
Like I'm gonna snot all over
Okay.
myself.
Yeah.
So anyway, so during our time, we had friends. You know what helped me? It was listening to Christian music.
Yeah.
It was listening. It was our devotional time that we did every night. It was never a sacrifice. And we still do it to this day.
Yeah.
It was the cards and the things like that, because we needed to make our apartment in New York feel like home. So I brought tons of pictures. Emily went with me and we shipped so much stuff to New York so that our apartment would look like we lived there full time.
Yes,
And
thank you, FedEx.
thank you, FedEx. That was an expensive bill.
Yes.
So, and then I would take little walks. How do you have time to yourself? Like, I feel like these are the strategies that I used.
So I'm gonna jump back from the strategies though, because I really want to draw you back because
oh no.
Yeah, because I really, I know people think, okay, well, he has cancer, and listen how they support one another. And that is so great. They're smiling and they're laughing. But there were worse days. And I think
it was awful.
I think that they need to know that, Nat, because there was the worst days. So you guys had that great day with the tuna, but you also
it wasn't
had
a great day.
Yeah, it's that interaction. It's that little interaction. But there was the worst day. There was a worse day. Nat.
It was day 6. It was day 6.
It was day 6. And I want you to, I need you to share that, because that's why Confession
was created,
was started. And I think that's important, Nat, because it's that bad, and it can be that hurtful. And that's what you have to give yourself grace and peace for, Nat.
Yeah. So day 6 is, I will never forget to, and I refer to it as day 6. There were other day 6s that would come, but Jason was so unhappy, and we were day 6 into his treatment. We were living in the apartment. We were on the 3rd floor, and my bestie Manuela, who was the manager at AKA Residences, she knew it had gotten so bad at one point. She helped us move to the 14th floor because our apartment was closer to the street and it was very noisy, and Jason has problems sleeping. So picture it, Sicily, 1932.
Thank you, Betty White.
Thank you, Betty. We had gone to treatment that day, and like we did the other 5 days before, because we have doctor's appointments every day, multiples. And I was working in between, and I was, just figured it out. It's totally fine. And we had been snippy with each other. The stress, let's be really honest. I am a type A, and he really is secretly a type A. He just lets me take the lead until he needs to take the lead. And so he didn't want to be in New York. Hey, guess what? He didn't want to have cancer. And he was just, I think he was angry. But I was on a meeting. I was on a virtual call, and I told him at 5:00 I would go and get us dinner. And my meeting ran over, and I had let it run over because I didn't want to deal with things. And so I was having fun on my call because it felt normal. And he came out and looked at me at 5, and then he shook his head and went back into the bedroom because he was laying down because he didn't feel good. He didn't feel good, period. And I get off and I'm like, okay, are you ready to eat? And he said, I'm not eating. And I'm like, yeah, we eat here. I don't actually care if you want to eat or not. You have to eat to keep up your strength. I'm very much a drill sergeant when it comes. I'm not, oh, that's so sweet, honey. I'm so sorry. No, I'm not like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, chop, chop, let's go. We got to get something to eat. Okay, what do you want? I'll go anywhere you want. And it was, well, what can you make me? I can't make you anything because I can't cook. And so I always went and got him something, because honestly, anything I cooked, he wasn't going to like, because he didn't like anything he ate. He didn't like anything. Everything was going to be bad. And so I realized quickly on, I was not going to cook for him, because the criticism of hating the food I took personally. And I already knew I was a bad cook, but to be a worse cook. So I just said no.
That's because he lost his taste. He wasn't, the radiation was in his mouth, to be clear.
Yeah, the radiation in his mouth, it was that he could taste things. Everything tasted awful.
Yeah.
And that is still to this day, that's a side effect. His taste has not returned. And so imagine every meal you eat tastes like the worst thing you've ever eaten, but you have to eat. And so we try everything. So anyway, I was like, Jason, let's do this. And he said, I wanted to eat at 5. He didn't care about eating at 5. He was mad. And he was mad, number one, about his cancer, if he was honest with himself. He's mad that he's in New York City because it's loud and noisy, and the smells made him nauseous. Every smell made him nauseous. Yeah. And so he wanted to vomit every time. And then I'm not at his immediate beck and call. He wanted some level of control in my mind that I look back at it. And I'm thinking, I'm doing what I always do. What's the big deal? And he's like, you work too long, and I can't believe you do this. And I have cancer. And we got into a huge argument. Like I didn't care about him. I didn't put him first. And I said, I'm going to go get you something to eat. And I'm just going to go to Morton Williams, which is a grocery store. They have pre-prepared foods and things like that. And I said, I'm just going to get you something. What do you want? And he's like, I don't know. And I don't want anything. And I said, okay, well, I'm just going to go. And he's like, I'm going to go with you. And I thought, oh, hell no, you're not. Because that is my time. The time that I would walk to the grocery store every day. I went to the grocery store every day, whether it's Trader Joe's or Morton Williams. And that's what I did. And he said, no, I'm coming. And I start to walk out the door, and he's pushing me, and I'm pushing him back. And I'm like, get away from me. I must have this time to myself. And he looked at me, and he goes, I told you I'm coming. And I said, I hate you. I told my husband that I hated you. The look on his face, and I heard it come out of my mouth. Regret number 2. I told my husband, who has cancer, that I hated him, but I have felt like I had been pushed so hard, and I was trying so hard, and it was never good enough. Nothing I did felt good enough. And I felt like I was dying on the inside. And I was like, please just let me be alone. Let me be alone. And he didn't understand. And so he stopped, and I walked out, and then he texted me and said, I can't believe you tell your husband, who has cancer, that you hate him. And I was like, I'm sorry. And so it wasn't the last time that we had words with each other, but I can tell you right now, I don't hate my husband. I hated everything about what we were doing. I hate that we were in New York. I hate that our lives were turned upside down. I hate that this is happening to him. I have no control. This was about control for me. I couldn't control anything. And so if I could I'm juggling all these balls, and when the moment that I said, I hate you, all the balls fell. And I was devastated that I had done that to my husband, the person I love the most, who loves me. And I called, of course, you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I needed, and it was, Natalie, forgive yourself. It's okay. You're under stress. It's not okay to say you hate your husband, but you know what? it happened. You said it now. And so of course I work in mental health field. And so I'm like, okay, that time going to the grocery store gave me space to kind of pull my head back together. And I came back in, I texted him, I'm like, I'm sorry. And then I came back in and we had a conversation about it the next day because there was so much, but it needed to not be said.
Yeah.
I slept on the couch that night. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm looking at, I know that we're
so I'm
like
going to
10-year
say
thing.
it first of all, it's one of the biggest lessons that we learned too. And it's something we say about everybody, which is it's about grace. Yeah. It's about giving each other grace. And it's about us even giving us grace, one another. And it's about Jason. It's about mom. It's about all the relationships for everybody in caregiving. So we're going to come back. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back. And one of the biggest things for caregivers is because everybody breaks in their relationship at some point. There's a break where it's like, I can't take this. If you haven't had that moment where you have to walk out, and you may not have said those words, but you have to repair that relationship. You have to go forward. And we're going to come back. You definitely are going to want to come back because you repair. It still may break again, but you're going to repair. And we're going to hear some more from my lovely blonde sister.
Yay!
Come back and listen for part 2.